You know, I think sexuality, which is, of course, a part of sensuality, but sexuality particularly is one of the most difficult things as a human being. You know, it's easier to resist. Master said the three, I forget what he called them, but the three major temptations to be, he didn't use the word resisted, but that we have to work with and transform that energy, were money, alcohol, and sex. He interestingly said alcohol is the most dangerous because it disinhibits us, so it makes us looser in all ways. But it's very challenging. There are many, and again, I'm saying this because it's important for us to not be so hard on ourselves that we have to leave the spiritual path, to make rules that if we find we can't live with those rules, we unknowingly start leaving. So I always feel great compassion for myself and for others who are making spiritual effort and yet not winning the game yet in every way, because it's the effort that we spend that is really, it's directional. The spiritual path is directional. So let me say that I'm so happy for you in whatever way the energy, the power, the spirit, and all there is to be gained by living as a brahmachari is being good for you, and that you're feeling the richness of that. And the richness of that is, of course, pulling all of that energy that so often is outward, looking, waiting, is this the one? How do I feel about that one? Do I find them sexy? Am I turned on here or not? So much of what goes on in people's minds, when all of that energy can be brought in and stilled, it's enormous and used in a spiritual way. So good for you. I feel that when I fast, when I've done longer fasts in the past, and I realize how much energy I use thinking about food, planning meals, shopping for food, the preparation of food, the eating of food. Wow, for me, it's a lot in a day, and I love food, so it's particularly a lot. It's not like, oh, if somebody puts something in front of me, I'll eat it. But what I realize, because that's another sensual draw, is how much energy is expended, how much of our precious energy. But your question is, what can I do to try and prevent being drawn back in those ways, being lured by that very strong power? I remember once I called Jyotish because I had been counseling somebody, this was many years ago, who had a particular sexual inclination that they really wanted to stop, but they couldn't. They just couldn't. It would come up, they would resist the behavior, the seeking of another person or the act, whatever it was, doesn't matter really. And then within an hour or two, they had given into it. And we tried many things in terms of what can you do. I mean, but let me just tell you what Jyotish said, so I called him and I said, you know, we've been talking about this for many, many months, maybe even a year. And Jyotish said to me, he said, probably I will tell you all of the things that you've already said, because he knows we do, it's true, when we want to resist something, we go right to the nearest altar. That's really what we should do. And the nearest altar, of course, is in our heart. But we find an altar and we start to pray and we ask God and gurus to take that impulse from us. Or we sidetrack ourselves. We go out for a run or a long walk, or we find a friend and we talk to them. All of those things, or we chant. I mean, it just goes on and on. Anything and everything that would take you in the right direction. The right direction means uplifting that energy again. So there are many things that one can do, and we just have to practice them over and over. It's a transformation of energy at so many turns in our life. And that energy is saying, nah, you don't really want to be there. You really want to come out, back out into the world, you know? And that's when Jesus says in that song that we sing every year at Christmas in the oratorio, and Jesus is saying, "Get thee behind me," Jesus did say, and he goes on and he talks to Satan, but with such power when that voice comes in. "Get thee behind me." It's like, Satan, get out of here. And we need that. It's in a strong voice and we need it. No, I don't want to go out there. I am headed this way. And then do one of those things. But what Jyotish said is, he said, the most important thing, Shanti, to share with people is that you have to immediately nip those desires right in the bud. You have to nip it. So far we don't have it out by its roots, which is the best thing to do when a weed's growing without our control. But as soon as we allow ourselves, we get tempted, we get seduced, because it is so seductive. I'll just think about it for a moment. I'll just enjoy it in my mind for a moment. You've lost the battle. We all know it. We've all been there. Whether it's with food or anger or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Those seductive desires, and certainly with sex. And I've practiced this with many things in my life since he said it to me. Many things. As soon as it comes in, and I've practiced it with judgmental thoughts, because it's so easy to be judgmental. Why are they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? Their behavior upsets me. It's more than, there's just so many ways. I mean, really. I don't want to count the ways because I don't want to go there right now. But for all of us, this is a part of the human condition. So if we can get it before we've decided to enjoy it, just take a little taste, we have a much, much, much greater opportunity to take that energy and uplift it. And that's what I would say. Go for a walk, go for a run, find a friend, do any of those things. Sit in front of the altar, certainly. Talk to God and gurus. Say, I really want you. I really want you. Here comes my energy. Come and help me. And they do. They can't resist it. They cannot resist when we genuinely call on them. And again, as Swamiji said so often, their answer may not always look like what we thought it was going to look like. But if it's their answer, if we know that, then we accept it. If it's our ego messing with us, then we have to learn to put that aside, draw that energy in before the ego knows what it's doing. Get in here. I'm sending you up. You're going up, not down. Then it's a good practice. But as soon as we can do it, and that's often my prayer for everyone, certainly for me. Let me hear God's will and be doing that. And, in a way, it's really why Gyanamata said, it has so much to do with her guru and her love of her guru and her absolute commitment to serving him. But when she said, say yes and make it snappy, it's like, let there not be a down moment, let there be no confusion. take that energy and send it up immediately. So, yeah, I hope that was helpful to you.